Hi everyone, welcome to Protective Diet Education. This is lesson number 323, Seed to Harvest Hydroponics. I'm going to show you from start to finish exactly how to start seedlings, whether it's for your garden outside in the spring and summer, or it's for your salad grow room like I created here. So with the rise in produce costs, and some people complaining that they can't even get lettuce off and on in the grocery store. I don't know what the reasons are. I wanted to gain independence. And I wanted to grow organic lettuce in the comfort of my guest room. So Jerry and I grew quite the garden last year, our protective garden, and we became totally independent here on this plant-based homestead. We didn't have to go to the grocery store at all. And we stocked our grains deep and we grew potatoes. And you saw my garden. It was pretty epic for us being beginners here in the desert. This is my favorite place in the garden right now. This is a volunteer tomato plant, and it's by far my favorite of the year. And I have a lot of tomatoes, but you can see this area is nicely shaded because of my zucchino rampicante plant. It's coming to an end here. It's still giving off some babies, and I have some cucumbers here. But I want to show you how well my peppers did, and that was because of the shade of these volunteer tomato plants that just popped up, because this was last year's tomato bed. And then check out my peppers. They turned red today, and I have a ton of them. I'm looking at them from inside this tunnel here. So I'll show you the outside. Look at my pumpkins. They're a little early. But, oh my gosh, my peppers are turning in just one day. And these hot peppers have been the best. They are super spicy, right, Jerry?
Mm-hmm. Oh
and I have all these little baby sweet peppers that I'm gonna ferment. And these will all turn red. But look at what's happening here. These were just all green yesterday, and now they're all red. Ooh, how exciting. Jerry, are we gonna make some plant-based protective stuffed peppers? But see my basil here? This is offering shade to these beautiful red peppers. They're turning red. And I didn't plan on this companion plant of these tomatillos and these tomatoes, but oh my gosh, thank you for popping up again. This was last year's tomato basil bed. So they shaded my peppers so beautifully so that they didn't get scorched. I'm loving it. But this volunteer tomato plant has been fantastic. That's a spicy red pepper. And this was another volunteer tomato plant. But this volunteer tomato plant, I'm saving the seeds from it. I don't even know what it is, but it's my favorite, and I grew all different varieties of tomatoes, and they're just the most meaty fleshed grape tomato. They're really thick, hardly any seeds. And then that's a cherry bomb pepper. There's more of those tomatoes back there. Oh my gosh, what a great year. 2022 September. We're gonna pick some tomatoes. We've got a lot of them. A lot to pick. Oh my gosh. All these Romas. There's a little baby Roma. But I've got a lot of big Romas. Oh my gosh. And then there's more over there. And more back here. Would you say I planted too many tomatoes? Never too many tomatoes if you have friends. Loving on the tomatoes. Oh, I've got another variety down here too. Lots of flowers, lots of basil, lots of marigolds, zinnias, basil to protect my tomatoes. No tomato worms here. No challenges with my tomatoes this year. And I am saying it's because of the basil. Thank you, basil. So I've been popping the basil flowers off. I have a lot of them, and I take them and I bring them over here to my fall garden, to my kale garden. I'll show you. These are all my different varieties of kale, and you can see them here. I just pop the basil tops around the kale because that will help to deter, I hope, pests. I'm going to show you my cabbage. Oh, there's my Swiss chard. I planted all of this just this fall. Lots of cabbage. But this bed over here, lots of sunflowers around. And these are 4 o'clocks. They're shut now because it's getting too hot. Some purple kale. Here is my cabbage bed. I have lots of red cabbage. This is all my cilantro going to seed, and I've replanted it. So here in this bed, you can see I have cilantro coming up again, and over there, in those, I have parsley and dill. I just keep replanting my herbs. So as they go to seed, I should trim those back before I have a huge garden of cilantro, but I wouldn't hate that so much. I love it. So here's my Napa cabbage. It's looking gorgeous. I started these, all of my cabbages from seed inside under a grow light, and then I transferred them out to the garden. So that's what's happening in my garden for fall. Oh wait, one more thing I've been waiting on. I have to show you what's over here. There's my baby watermelon, but there's the big daddy. And we're gonna have a neighborhood cutting of this one. This is the talk of my garden right now, and it's still connected, so I'm hanging in there. I keep checking on it every day. I think this is gonna be the superstar of my garden this year. Right, Rusty? What do you think? A big watermelon. I have a lot of other watermelons under here. Not to make you feel bad, you guys. You're just as great as the big daddy over there. Here's another one. This one's the uncle daddy. Oh, and there's the auntie daddy. I gotta name them all, right? There's another one right here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. There's another one. Jerry, there's a ton of watermelons in here that I didn't even know I had. Hi, Cassie. Hi, Cassie girl. Cassie girl likes my kale. She loves my kale leaves. I'm always sharing. Here's another one. Here's another one. Oh my gosh, there's 3 more. I don't know if you can see them on my camera. This is an exciting day. I didn't even notice all these watermelon under here. I was just so focused on this guy. And then I have my carrots over here underneath these sunflowers and my potatoes. And Cassie's like, where the heck is my daily kale? I'm waiting on it, Julie Marie. Where's my kale? I gotta go get Cassie girl some kale. I mean, come on. Don't leave a hungry horse waiting. Those horses are well fed, but they love their treats. So this is one of my new varieties of kale that I grew this year. This one's called 1,000 Head Kale, and it's a Baker Creek seed, and I just love it. It stays very velvety and tender. Let me give them some of that. Gotta bring this to my friends. My first year blackberries and black raspberries are going, they're going good. They're coming along. Check out my weed pile. Yep, I've been working. So in the winter time, I really wanted to be able to maintain my independence, because in the summer we were kind of inundated with vegetables. I had to share them with everyone and do a lot of canning and preserving and fermenting. So in the winter time, we don't have anything coming out of the garden here. We're in the high desert, so we get a little sprinkling of snow and everything. So there's no gardening. So I moved it indoors. I collected bakery buckets. As I shared with you when I introduced hydroponics in lesson number 319, it was sip-on polyphenol protection and hydroponic introduction. All I asked you to do was to gather the supplies that you needed to do this project if you wanted to grow along with me. So I asked you to collect the bakery buckets, and they are frosting bakery buckets. And we'll go through this as I start showing you how to start your seedlings. So first things first, gather some seeds. And I found through my testing, I've only been at this. This is my first winter doing this. I'm by far not an expert, but I know you like to learn from me, because you can see I did all of this first try. So if I can do this and I can keep it going, this is my second batch of lettuce here. My first batch is down here. So if I can keep this going and have a beautiful bucket of lettuce in 1 month's time after I plant the seedling takes a couple weeks to get started. And when you harvest it, it regrows. Now I'm going to share with you the benefits of replanting and harvesting and regrowing. But oh my gosh, I'm so excited to share this with you. So let's start with our seedlings and our seeds. So these are all of the seeds I have. So I have my purchase seed container, and then I also have my collected seeds. You know, you heard all about this in Protective Diet Education, how I was saving my prized seeds in packets from last summer and this summer and sharing them with my friends for Christmas. And that's what's in here. And then this bucket, this frosting bucket that I got from Costco, they throw them away at bakeries. So go into your bakeries, your local bakeries, and ask them, do you have any empty frosting buckets that I could have that you're going to dispose of? And they will give them to you if they have them. Go later in the day or in the afternoon, because they frost all the cupcakes, they fill all the pie fillings early in the morning. So here's a picture of Jerry at Costco leaving with all his frosting buckets. And here's some that we picked up that we still need to wash out. So I usually ask them if they have a garbage bag, or if you bring your own, even better. And then you can put the sticky buckets in there, because they're full of frosting. They're not going to clean them out for you. They're throwing them in a dumpster. So this is a repurposing idea that I had, because they're throwing all this plastic away. And don't forget to ask for the lids. So you can see up here I have all of my washed out frosting buckets ready to go. There's all the lids, there's the buckets, and I'm going to show you some other purposes for these buckets when we go into the kitchen, my workplace for wellness, in a little while. So seeds, these are all of the seeds that I found worked really well in the hydroponics. My personal favorite in here is the lettuce, top shelf here, and the herbs. This is my parsley, which is getting crazy. Here's my chives, and when I'm growing herbs, I grow 4 in a bucket. So I'll give you a close-up shot of this. There's 4 holes made, and I'll show you how those are made. And then my parsley, I have 4 plants, 4 single seedlings. Then on here I have cilantro, and I have 4 going, and this one I just harvested. And it will continue to grow back beautifully. The herbs are great that way. This was an experiment. I took the tip of my my tomato plant. This was an experiment. I cut the top of a indeterminate cherry tomato plant off of my garden tomato plants back in mid-October, and I moved it into a hydroponic, just the top. And look it, I have cherry tomatoes growing here, and these are ready. These are ready for picking and enjoying. Would I recommend doing tomato plants? Not just yet. I planted some seedlings and I'm going to try those, and I will keep you posted. Start with the lettuce, the chives, the herbs, parsley, dill, things like that. The lettuce does the best. I'm also going to show you some kale. I have kale over here. I have different varieties of lettuce, and I'll talk to you about that as I start some seeds. When we harvest, they will tend to bolt like you're seeing here, and you can collect these seeds. That's a bonus of the bolting, is you can collect the seeds then, or you can just harvest, pull out, and put a new seedling in. I would recommend that because the turnover rate in a month, you'll have a whole nother either head of kale, head of lettuce, a lot more growth. But if you're busy and you don't have time to get to putting a seedling in, and you just harvest it and take it away, leave it there, because you'll get some leaves, you'll get some produce out of it. So I'm going to jump up here. I have all of my supplies stored up here. I've talked to you about these things in YouTube videos on Protective Diet YouTube channel. I showed you how I start all my seedlings, and I keep repurposing these cups. I put the labels on there. Now I'm down to using masking tape and marker for the labels. So let's get to starting some seeds so I can show you all about that. So here is my seedlings, and there's a lot of questions about tomato starts and doing different starts for your garden, not just for hydroponics. And I want to mention this system has been so incredible for me, using these grow lights that you can get through protectivediet.com. We're affiliated with Happy Leaf, which is a mom and pop business. They build these LED lights. They are superior for hydroponics and starting your seeds, and they are priced beautifully. And this couple, they build these lights in Illinois, and I loved buying them from them. I bought my first two to start my seedlings last spring, and then I bought two more, and then I just added two more down here so that I can do seedlings and buckets. But this could be a hydroponic bucket, a project that just fits under one lamp. You don't have to go crazy. And if you want this link, it's protectivediet.com grow lights. Did I get that right? Grow lights with an S.
Yeah.
So protectivediet.com/grow lights, and you'll see these Happy Leaf grow lights. I did a lot of research on the best lights I could buy that were affordable and very easy to hook from anywhere. You could hook them to a ceiling and lower them down low over a dresser. You don't have to have a special shelf. And here I am in my guest room. I wanted to mention, I don't think that if I have any overnight guests, that they would mind sleeping on the couch and eating a glorious eggless egg salad wrap or salad, or just coming over to see this, because this is pretty amazing that I was able to do this in the wintertime without any challenges. It was just like first try, beautiful job, beautiful produce came out of it. Okay, so here I have some seed starts. I have kale, and I find that the herbs and the lettuce is your best bet. Although I started some bok choy. I have some red bok choy, I think, over here. I'm gonna plant that today because I really want to give bok choy a try, because that's supposed to be one of the easiest hydroponic vegetables, And it's a cruciferous vegetable. It's very protective, very cancer protective. And it's a vegetable that I can add to my beauty broth hot pot, or stir fries, or my eggless egg rolls, or my eggless egg roll bowl. It's pretty, I could use it in many different things. So to start your plant starts, I want you to get organic potting soil from your local hardware store. And we are going to use a fresh cup of this potting soil. And if you don't want to buy these plastic cups, you can use, because I'm all about repurposing, these, which you get grapes in them from the produce department. From my Costco, I get grapes this size, but regular grocery stores, things come in this size, and there's already holes in the bottom. So you could use this to start your seeds. You just need something with holes in the bottom. These cups, I'm placing one hole. I'm using a drill, a big bit drill, and drilling one hole in the bottom. And the reason we're doing that is anytime you're going to start seedlings, you really want to, is this the one I just filled? Yes. You really want to water from the bottom up. Do not water from the top. It's going to move your lettuce seeds all over the place, and you're not going to get an even watering. This is really the secret to plant starts. Besides those awesome grow lights, you need good soil, and you need the hole in the bottom. So you're watering bottom up. And you need some trays. So that's another thing I want to talk about, repurposing trays. I bought these at an estate sale for $1 each. I think the dollar store might have trays like these as well, but that's not necessary. I know you all have baking sheets. And this is what I started off using. And your old baking sheets you can use. And I replaced my baking sheets. They needed replacing, so this was a good reason for me to move them into my grow room. And all of these will be full in the springtime when I'm doing my plant starts for the garden. Okay, so here I put my soil into this depth. Move these out of the way. These aren't my favorite because when I do plant starts for hydroponics, these take up a lot of room, and I might not grow one type of lettuce, that many of them. So as you can see how many seeds germinated in this cup, and this one is a romaine lettuce. So all of these germinate, and I can separate them, and one lettuce sprout goes into one hole. So when we're growing lettuce, I do one hole. Put this up here, and I'll show you how we do that hole after we get these started. I'm just saying this is a lot. This would fill my shelves with hydroponics, but lettuce seeds, I buy them from True Leaf Market. And one of my favorite ones from them is the Little Caesar. It's an organic romaine lettuce, and it's beautiful. And I'll go through the different ones I have up here, but I get their seeds, and then I also get Baker Creek seeds, which are mostly they're all organic heirloom seeds. And Baker Creek is rareseeds.com. Gorgeous lettuces to choose from. And okay, I'm going to show you how to plant a seed, because some of you may have never done this and you're taking on hydroponics, and I am so excited and impressed that you want to do this. So what we do is we plant our lettuce seeds. Let's see, which one do I want to do? Let's plant, actually, I have so many lettuce seed starts here that I'm going to go for a Fresno chili pepper. You know how much I love that red hot pepper for my probiotic pepper sauce, my fermented hot sauce. So I want to see and test it out and see how they do in hydroponics. So I'm going to sprinkle a few of those in there. And with the lettuce seeds, I would put probably, if you can control them, maybe like 6 lettuce seeds per cup, depending on how many buckets you're going to do, because it's 1 lettuce per bucket. So then I put these pepper seeds in there, and with lettuce seeds, it's the same. You're just covering them with a dusting of this soil. This organic potting soil is what I recommend. And then you are putting them in here, and you're going to fill about this much water in this tray. I use a measuring pitcher usually when I do it, and then I let them drink from the bottom up. This way it doesn't disrupt any of these top seeds, and in a couple weeks you're going to have these beautiful seeds. Now I want to give you the heads up. You're going to think, oh my gosh, why isn't my cilantro growing? Look how tiny it is. And my parsley hasn't even sprouted, yet my lettuce is already here, and my bok choy is here. So just be patient. They'll sprout, they'll get going. And this bedroom is very cool because it's the farthest room from our wood burning stove, and that's how we heat our house. So lettuce likes cool temperatures. And I'd say it's about maybe 68 degrees in here. That's right. Cool to us. We like a warm house. So Jerry is constantly stoking that fire with wood. And we've kept really nice and warm in the other rooms, but this room's the farthest. So I wanted to mention that. If you have a hotter house, I don't know how well the lettuce is going to do if you're in a hotter climate. That's why this is an excellent winter project. Okay, so next thing we're going to do, I'm going to plant one. So you get this, you're watering from the bottom up. I don't want your plants sitting in a pool of water all the time. So the seedlings or the seeds, you'll feel the top of the surface of your soil get nice and moist after you put about this much water in your tray. And if they don't soak it all up by the next day, drain that tray out. And then you'll see the top is nice and moist. And pay attention to them. This is the most high maintenance part of this project. You're going to love it. You can abandon these for a month and they're fine. They're like just growing away.
So you don't put any water in from the top?
Never. Never water your seedlings from the top. Bottom up. That's what that hole on the bottom is for, to suck up the water, because that would disrupt the seeds. They don't like it that way, and they wouldn't drain out very well. So the other thing I can say for this is take a look at them about once a week. Mark it on your calendar. Set some kind of phone timer. If you're putting this in a basement, which you totally can, it doesn't need any sunlight from the outside. It just needs those grow lights. So you could do this project anywhere. If you had a warm enough garage, you could do it out there, but maybe in the springtime when it's getting warmer, because my garage is like my cold room where I keep a lot of produce and my apples and things like that. They store so beautifully out there. So this would never work out. Sorry about all of the little scurrying around. I got this cutie Cooper here. Come here, Cooper. He thinks we're playing because this is weird. I don't normally have this little portable table here. Hey, guy. Hey, guy. So this is very exciting. Cooper and Lucky usually lay on the guest bed in here, protecting and guarding over the entire neighborhood and all of my plants.
I have to watch and make sure they're growing.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to show you, I think I should show you an example of what's going on in here. This is probably the worst one because it's such a big head of lettuce. So this lettuce is called Ice Queen. And this is an heirloom Baker Creek seed. and I love it because look at these huge lettuce leaves. We are going to wrap our eggless egg salad in there so beautifully tonight. I'll show you, and I'm going to harvest this head of lettuce. I'm so excited. It got really nice and round, but I want to show you inside of here. Hopefully you can see. See those roots, Cooper? It's amazing. So and you're going to get some algae in there, and we're going to prevent too much algae by tightening up the hole where the seedling is. I'll show you that. But I wanted to show you this because as your lettuce grows that first month, it's going to drink water. And as the roots drink the water, they also get longer and they grow down into the water. So they're going to be able to reach the water for probably 2 months before you need to fill this again. And we're going to fill it initially with hydroponic solution, and then any addition of water that we add, we can just add water because it's probably going to be ready to replant a new plant and start over. If you decide you want to add more water with fertilizer solution, thanks, Cooper. Jerry, could you call Cooper over?
Come on, buddy.
He's going to help me out here.
Come on, Cooper.
Anyway, if you wanted to redo the solution, I would suggest dumping out the water that's in there and adding fresh water with the solution, and I'll give you that ratio. You can see this one came from Danish icing. These buckets are all different frosting and pie fillings and stuff like that. I love that we're repurposing. Okay, so our buckets. Here is, oh, and the buckets are 2-gallon frosting buckets. So I recommend 4 holes in the top lid if you're doing herbs, small plants. If you're doing lettuce and you want it to get huge, like this romaine lettuce or like this ice queen where it's full and big, you can't fit 4 big heads. So go with 1 hole in the center. And the way that we do that is with a drill. Jerry, what is this drill head called again?
That's a hole drill.
A hole drill. So
a whole bit, actually.
Whole bit. I actually found this whole bit at a estate sale. I found 2 of them. And this one is a 1.5 inch.
2 inches.
Oh, 2 inches? You measured it for
I did.
me. The other one's a 3 inch. It's even bigger. So we're going to gather buckets. We're going to get a 2-inch hole drill and a pool noodle. Okay? So that's, and let's go through this. Well, we might as well all at once. Hydroponics solution. This is Maxi Grow 10, 15, 14 is the one that I use. And you can also buy it in bulk like this so that you have it if you get into it. This was my first bag. I'm still on it. It takes a long time to go through, so I would start here unless there's a worry that there's going to be a shortage on this. So that's why I got the big one. After my first batch of hydroponic lettuce, I was like, Jerry, buy the mother load because this is going to be my winter produce. This is how I'm going to eat to maintain my independence. When I don't have my garden, I can grow it inside. It's so fantastic. Okay, so I drilled holes in the bucket and we're going to plant. What are we going to plant? We're going to plant, oh, I have the kale. I don't want the kale. Okay, here it is. This one's called Purple Lady Bok Choy. And that came from rareseeds.com, Baker Creek Seeds. They have an incredible seed catalog if you want to, and you can look at everything online, but the catalog has descriptions of everything. It's a beautiful thing for the winter to read through that catalog in preparation for your garden. So with the bok choy, I'm going to grow 4 plants because it's a smaller plant. It's only going to get about this big, so I can fit 4 per bucket. Now, when you're growing 4 plants, you've got to keep an eye. After about a month, check in there for the water level because they are going to drink more than 1 plant. So that will make the difference in the refill. If you're someone that travels a lot or you're going to be gone for weeks at a time or a month or more, I would put your lights on a timer. You're going to need a timer, and then it's pretty much hands off and you don't need to worry about it. Maybe plant 1 plant per bucket if you just don't ever want to think about it for 2 months. So I have 1 gallon of water in here, and I just filled it, and I'm using this empty vinegar bottle. Save those. If you're using white vinegar as your all-purpose cleaner around the house like we do on a protective diet, we eliminate all of the chemicals in our house. We are a chemical and fragrance-free home to protect our microbes.
So what about dryer sheets?
Microbiome. No dryer sheets. Jerry's like, no, we keep talking about the scent of fabric softener on food that friends share with us because they're using all these fragrances. They're very accustomed to them. They don't even smell them, but they're in the food that they're making. They're in their Tupperware containers. When I get returned glass jars from friends that use traditional laundry detergent and fabric softeners, I have to rewash them again. They smell so much like perfume or fragrance from the exhaust of laundry or air fresheners. But you know, we go through all of this in the lifestyle products lessons where we talk about replacing your laundry detergent with my DIY detergent that is chemical free and 1 penny a load. Okay, and super effective, as you saw, those stains and the examples I gave you, and we share within the community. We've heard such great feedback. That laundry detergent has been out for 8 years, 7 or 8 years that we've been working with that. It's been a recipe on protectivediet.com. So I have a gallon of water here, a gallon in my bucket. I just did this to make it easy. Normally I do this at my kitchen sink.
What size of buckets are those?
2 gallons. 2 gallon frosting buckets. So then this comes with a little scooper. This is 1 teaspoon. And I put 3 of those into my 2 gallons of water. And this mixes and dissolves beautifully. You don't even have to worry about it. Add your 2nd gallon of water in there. And you're going to leave a little bit of room. You're not going to fill it all the way to the brim. Just to about there until you get your plant. I'm going to put this away. You want to keep this away from water. You don't want to grow absolutely nothing in there. And then I'm going to show you how I do this. Jerry, could you move this away from me?
Sure.
All right, actually, I can put it up top. Thank you. Okay. Normally I keep that up here. I try to keep everything that I work with close by. And I do like seeding and stuff like that when it's cold out. I do that in my kitchen. And I just sweep the floor. No big deal. But when it's nice out, I like to do it outside. And with hydroponics, as you know, we're doing this inside. Okay, so next, I need my pool noodles. So I have a bunch here cut. And if you were repurposing a bucket that you had a plant in, that was done. Like some of these that are going to seed and I'm ready to put something new in there, or even this tomato plant, I think it's time to say goodbye to it and plant a fresh tomato plant start.
Even though it's producing tomatoes.
Yeah, I'm ready to move on. Or after I harvest this lettuce tonight, I'm going to put a new plant start in there tomorrow. I plan on replanting a lot of these as I start harvesting. Oh, and by the way, these plant starts will stay beautiful for a month or 2 or even 3 if you keep watering them and tending to them, and maybe thinning some of them out by taking some of the plants out if you plant too many in there. And then you'll have those available to replace into your buckets. But don't worry about that yet. Let's get on starting our first bucket. But if you were reusing one of your buckets, I keep this little scrubby cloth handy. This is my hydroponics bucket cleaning scrubby cloth. So after I'm done with it, I put it on the shelf with my tools so that, you know, I'm all about kitchen systems and pantry stocking systems. Well, of course, I have a history in operations. I was an operations manager, so I like to figure out a way to do this so that it's very pleasurable for myself. And I'm always thinking of you in our community. How can I make this so that it's like got the flow? Like we have our kitchen flow. I want you to have your salad grow room flow. So it's fun and pleasurable. And you're like, I can't believe this worked. I can't believe I did this. Well, believe it, just like on a protective diet, you are going to experience exactly what I did if you follow my lead. Okay, so you washed out your bucket. Let's say you're repurposing your bucket. It's going to be a little algae-like and green. That's great. Those are microbes we're populating ourselves with. The bucket that you're growing in those roots and the water and the algae will never have an odor. It's totally odorless. It's totally healthy. It's perfect. Okay, so that's what that was in there for. So here I have my pool noodles. Let me grab a scissor. And as I'm working with my pool noodle, and by the way, get these at the dollar store. And they might not have them because they are a seasonal item in some areas. But look around for a pool noodle. Ask a friend if you have a pool and you don't have a pool noodle. The ones at the dollar store, and then you can just replace them in the spring for them. The ones at the dollar store are a little narrower than the ones that my mom had in her pool in Florida. They don't really hold up an adult that well. These are like kids' pool noodles, cheapo dollar store noodles. So that's my spare. That's the only one I have left, but I've been able to reuse these and reuse these. You just wash them up. The inside piece, we're going to take one of the slices of the pool noodles like this and cut it in half, and then cut off a piece, and then I make a little cut in the center just so that I can put my little seedling in there, and then I can pop it into here. And the goal for this is to block all of the light. So it's going to go in like that. Any area, whether it be the center or the sides, if you didn't put it in there well, which that should fit perfectly with that round drill bit. You want to block any light shining into the water because then it's going to get full of algae. But to be honest with you, the algae, it's no big deal. It's not gross. It's like you just, like I said, when you go to repurpose this bucket for your next seedlings, you wash it out. There's no odor. It's beautiful. It's just growing because there's nutrition in there, there's roots in there, and you have the sunlight creating photosynthesis and developing green life. So it's okay. I believe there's healthy microbes in there that are helping to fertilize your plants. So when we harvest our seedlings to put into our hydroponics, just like I showed you with the garden seedlings on YouTube videos over the summer, you want them to be dry. So don't water them for a few days so that the soil crumbles like this. There will be less risk of root damage this way. And this hydroponic method was created by Kratky, Kratky. It's the Kratky method. And you can go to YouTube University and look up tons of videos on this method and learn how to do it. But I'm just showing you the same exact thing as you're going to find on there. Some Some people are doing it and they haven't had much success, so watch who your teachers are on YouTube. See that they had a really good finished result. So I'm putting my little seedling in there with the roots hanging out the bottom, right in the middle, and then I'm carefully placing those roots straight down into the hole and that little plug that's going to cover up the light shining into the water. And then I'm putting it into here. I'm putting it pretty level and low, but there's a little bit of space here so that it holds in. And then there's quite a bit on the bottom. And then there's my little precious bok choy root. And what I need to make sure of is that the water reaches the root level. So pour a little more in, and my fertilizer is totally dissolved already. And there it's touching, I'm going to put a little bit more in. It's touching the roots, and that's all it needs. Now what it's going to do is, as the roots grow, the water is going to evaporate. And it's perfect because those roots like a little bit of air on the top of them. So don't like keep topping it off. You don't need to do that. You saw my last bucket, and I'll show you another. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of these maybe later, because if you want, you can rewind it and see just how I did this, because I don't want to take up your time to learn the same thing over and over again. It's that simplistic. And with bok choy, I'm growing 4. With lettuce or kale, I'm growing 1 so that it can get really big. Bok choy, cilantro, parsley, chives, dill, they grow more compact, so we can have multiple plants like that. So easy enough. And then after I get all 4 of these on here, I'm going to get them under a grow light immediately, and in about a month, I'm going to be loving my bok choy or my lettuce. Oh, and I forgot to mention one of the most important things about planting new seeds. I can't believe I forgot. Now I need to see. It's not that one. It's this one. So on here, I'm going to label every cup. Do not forget to do this. So these I've reused twice. I had Louisa's plum tomatoes in here last summer, and kale. So I just keep repurposing these. And because it's getting confusing what I wrote on there and crossed out on there, I started using the masking tape. This will be excellent to eat in the summer or the winter. I mean, it protects us from any free radicals, any chemical contaminants. It helps to detoxify and keep our cells healthy. So there we go. Don't forget your labels. Very important. Let's do some harvesting. This is the best part, right? The picking from seed to harvest. So this is a big decision. I want to show you what I have here before I harvest everything. So this one is tango lettuce, and I want to show you what happens when you harvest it. So these I've had around since the beginning of my hydroponics project, which you saw in that lesson number 319. It was a while ago. And when you harvest the lettuce, it bolts like this. So I harvested this lettuce all the way down. When I harvest it, this one, the pool noodle fell in and everything. Poor guy. I'll show you the root system on this plant. It's got to be pretty big because it's been around a while. But as you can see, I didn't take this plant out and plant a new seedling in here because I'm still testing things out for myself and for you to see what happens. And you'll see, look at that root system. It's beautiful. It's huge. But it's time for me to take this plant out of here, wash out that pool noodle, and you're going to have to replace that center component, that's the only time that we have to redo them. It's not a big deal to wash. You can see my bucket's got some green around the edges, but it washes off so beautifully. Just, you could even water your plants with this. You don't have to waste this because there's still vitamins in there. Fertilizer. Okay, so if I was going to keep this plant going, which I totally can, if you don't have time, you don't have seedlings started, no big deal. Harvest this whole plant. Give it a real good haircut. And I don't mind eating these. Well, this one's really woody, but some of these are really crisp. I don't mind eating this ever. Put that in a wrap, chop it up, put it in a stir fry, put it in your beauty broth hot pot. Fabulous way to use those stems up. And then I'm going to clean this up, and it has plenty of water in here. If you have to top it off, if you're going to add water after you've got a root system like this, just add it to about here so that it has these air roots, because these plants really like having that little bit of gap. And like I said, you can abandon these for a month as long as you have timers on your lights. Turns on at 4 a.m. and turns off at 10 p.m. So that's the way we have it scheduled. You can play around with that if you want it to come on later. If you're sleeping in that room or you're having a guest stay, it won't come on until they get up. I could set it to turn on and stay on later, I guess. But I would have anyone sleep on the couch because these lights are on a long time. But back on the shelf this goes. And this one was a tango lettuce. And then here I have, the other thing I want to mention, which is so much fun. So these frosting buckets, you can write on them with your dry erase markers. You can also do the same technique, dry erase markers, on your food storage buckets. I just came across this idea and put them on everything. I didn't have this idea to do this until I did the frosting buckets, because the frosting is very greasy when we're washing it off. And I noticed there's some oil still on the outside of these buckets. So when I want to wipe them off and change what's the label of what's in them, or my fun little signs like chew well to produce nitric oxide, to vasodilate our blood vessels. These are just little reminders I have on here. PD for life, and what lettuce I have in here. This one's Little Caesar. This one's from True Leaf Market, and I love this Caesar lettuce. It's beautiful, it's hardy, it's definitely a favorite. I'm gonna harvest some of this. This one, I could just lop the whole thing off, but I don't think Jerry and I will eat that much, and I really want to enjoy that Ice Queen lettuce because it's more of like a head lettuce, and I want to play around with that with the wraps. But let's do some romaine too. And then I have a red romaine down below. Oh, and I tried a cabbage. This one is a red cabbage, and this has been growing since December 2nd. So quite some time. It is starting to head up there, but I don't know if this is going to be that successful. So I'll keep you posted. But you know, I want to be able to grow cabbage in the winter so I can make our 7-day sauerkraut, the Ruby Rock Kraut, year-round. And by the way, there is a free recipe for the 7-day sauerkraut with a complete demo video if you're interested in learning that, if you're not a part of the Protective Diet community and you're watching this video. So if you are loving this video, please like this video and comment below. I would appreciate it because I'm going to put this video on YouTube so that you can share this with your friends and everyone can get into hydroponics, because this is a phenomenal way to support ourselves through whatever it is we're going through if we can't get produce in the future, or just the winter produce. What I've been experiencing in the store is the pits. And it's because I spoiled myself with my outdoor garden this last summer and the summer before, and I just won't even buy what's in the store anymore. I want it fresh as can be. Doesn't get any fresher than this. And most of our lettuce in the store and most of our vegetables now are grown hydroponically. So if you're like, oh, but it doesn't have the microbes from the soil and as much nutrition, don't sweat the small stuff. Get the fresh leafy greens in your diet, in your mouth. Chew them, don't blend them, because you want to produce that nitric oxide with your healthy oral microbiome mixing with the chewing of the greens to produce the nitric oxide, to vasodilate your blood vessels, to have beautiful blood flow. Okay, so let's see, what else should we harvest here? I have more tango lettuce down there. This one was a head lettuce that didn't work out as well as I wanted it to. These have all been harvested once before. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this. I think this one I'm going to cut down and replace tomorrow because look at all these seeds. But I could let it seed out. I think that would be a good idea. Why not save my seeds? And then I have, let's see, should I do this one or this one? I don't know. Let's do this one. This is the ice queen. And what is this one? This one's the Little Caesar. And this one is 2. Let's take a few from this. Oh, here's a good example to show you. This one I harvested not too long ago. So we'll use this one up because I'm just going to take this out. And, oh, it's so crisp. It doesn't get any better than this. And this part, when I clean out my bucket, these lids go on really tight. When I clean out my bucket and I clean out my pool noodle here, I'm taking this root piece and I'm putting that in my compost. If you have a compost going, don't throw this away. Put it in your compost because it's got a lot of good nutrition there in the leaves and the roots. And then I'm going to do this one. This one's very exciting because I haven't harvested this type of lettuce yet. Some of the leaves around the bottom are going to get a little brown. I've noticed that happen. You can go and clean them up if you want. But look at, I grew an iceberg lettuce. And those of you that have been following me a while in protective diet education, you know how much I love the crunch of iceberg. Don't ever discount this as not nutritious, especially these green outer leaves. But oh my gosh, look at what I did. I'm so excited about this. And I really didn't do much. As you saw me run through what I did, it's pretty simplistic and pretty hands off. So let's go into my workplace for wellness and let me show you what I'm going to do with all of these beautiful lettuce greens. I have my egg salad, eggless egg salad chilled. This is the new variation that I changed to add tiny pasta or broken up spaghetti into it with the tofu that replaces the eggs in this epic eggless salad. And it stretches the batch to make 8 cups, which you see here. And the reason I did that is because we're working on this gut microbiome population project here in Protective Diet Education. And I realize there's many of you just getting started that aren't used to the high fiber diet that we eat with the addition of lots of beans. Keep in mind, tofu is beans, soybeans, organic soybeans that are cooked and pressed into a brick. So with that being said, if you're eating tofu mayonnaise, tofu egg salad with a whole bunch of green lettuce and you're just getting started, you are going to experience gas and bloating and you're going to be you're just going to be uncomfortable. And the reason for that is you have yet to populate your healthy gut microbes that ferment and digest plant fibers. And beans are one of the highest plant fiber foods that we can eat. And the other reason you might experience, if you've been practicing a protective diet for a long time, like Jerry and I, and you are experiencing this kind of distress, intestinal distress, there can be two reasons on high fiber foods why this would happen. Number one, being overeating. Overeating on any diet plan, overeating in any way, any variation will cause gas and bloating. So I'm talking about really packing it in, binging overeating. That will cause gas. The other way would be because you haven't eaten a diverse protective diet. You're not eating a variety of different plant fibers. That will cause you to not have that developed gut microbiome to ferment and digest the plant fibers. And I also want to mention that in the tofu we talk about this phytochemical called genistein that is extremely protective. That is what causes the angiogenesis inhibiting process. So it causes the blood supply, say this is your tumor, and these are the blood vessels coming off of, hopefully not your tumor, like my brain tumor was. Here was the tumor, the cancerous tumor, and it needs to grow blood vessels. That's called angiogenesis. And that connects to the body, to blood supply. And then when we eat, we feed that tumor and it grows. Well, there's certain specific food ingredients, plant-based food ingredients like tofu, soy milk, soy yogurt, our blueberries, our red cabbage, our hot peppers, our capsaicin. All of these things are angiogenesis inhibitors. They don't allow this to happen, this growth from the tumor, the blood supply to connect to the rest of the body to feed the tumor. And that's precisely what you saw within my brain tumor when you saw photographs of my brain tumor and there was this thick border and there was no blood supply connection. Well, that was because I had been practicing a protective diet for a very long time, and that tumor, that brain tumor, was with me since childhood, as are most cancers. They grow along with us, and we can either feed them angiogenesis promoters like animal proteins. That's our number one. Dairy protein, any kind of animal protein, any kind of animal whey protein powder. That's going to fertilize those cancers and create the angiogenesis to connect and feed and fuel that tumor to grow fast and big. So we want to eat tofu. We want to eat the soy milk. We want to eat the fermented soybeans in the form of our plant-based yogurt on a protective diet. So this is powerful food right here. This is powerful cardioprotective food right here. So, and here, and all around us. So you're probably wondering what all this blue stuff is. I'll get to that. That's fun. So let's make a lettuce wrap. On the recipe for the new egg salad, we have lettuce boats. We have lettuce wraps. So let's start with a wrap. Let's use one of these beautiful leaves. It might actually be too crunchy and crack, but we're going to, you could break this part off. I usually just fold it in, but if you break off the stem portion, it will make it easier to roll up. So I'm going to put a scoop in there, fold it up, make a nice little lettuce wrap. And I'm going to bite it like that, and I'm going to serve it along with my probiotic pepper sauce. And when I take bites, I add that. That makes it spicy, have a kick. With fermentation, these are active with live microbes that directly populate our microbiome when we eat fermented foods. The other thing we could have added in there, I wanted to show you, if you're packing up lunch, get yourself some good containers that have eye appeal so that you can do what I did when I worked at the hotel, and I would pack these outstanding lunches that would have everyone asking, what's in there? And that's how I got started and got out of that industry. Went back to school, learned about plant-based nutrition so that I could teach in this classroom and direct you with the nutrition portion of this, along with the culinary schools, and now a lot of growing around here, outside in the summer and in my salad grow room in the winter. So let's make one more of those.
That's quite the head of lettuce there, Julie Marie.
I know, I can't even believe I grew a head of lettuce. I mean, romaine and bok choy and all these things are really simple with hydroponics, but I didn't know I could have heads of lettuce. I can't wait to tell my neighbor Jerome. He says he only eats iceberg, and that doesn't grow here in St. George. And I'm just like, or in Dameron Valley, I'm like, I want iceberg lettuce too, and I want to show him it does. I can't wait to show him. So here's another little, we can make a smaller wrap with the romaine, or if you have really crispy romaine that has a big rib down the center, just make lettuce boats like this and put them around on a platter. That's how Jerry and I like to eat it.
Mm-hmm.
We have been eating a lot of our sauerkraut, and I ordered all of that organic cabbage from Azure because I ran out of all of mine from the garden. And so I've been making it in a 1-gallon container. I've been showing you how to do that, how to weight it down in videos on YouTube. So I'm adding a little bit of ruby raw kraut. I'm adding...
Azure Standard is the organic farm that delivers to our door.
Yes, if anyone's watching this that's in the area, or check it out in your area, all you have to do is go to protectivediet.com/Azure. AZURE, and you are going to find everything from fresh produce in the middle of winter that comes to us from Oregon and California and delivered right here is our drop here. It's called Protective Diet Drop in Dameron Valley, Utah, but there is one near you. Look it up, check it out. All of our staples, all of our organic whole grains come from Azure. Oh,
what's that URL again?
protectivediet.com/Azure, AZURE, and put in your zip code and you're going to find a drop near you. So these lettuce wraps, I like to put them, oh, here's a little red leaf lettuce, red leaf romaine. Check out all of the different seeds of lettuce that you can try. There is such variety. There's almost like an overwhelming amount of them. But start with small packets if you don't want to invest in the big ones like I do. And then here I have alfalfa sprouts. Top those off. And we've got to put another wrap in here. But I just wanted to give you an idea of how you could pack up the most beautiful protective lunch to take with you to work. If you're in a cafeteria or you eat lunch with a group of people, they're going to be like, what is that? And you're like, oh, that's my hydroponic lettuce. And that's my epic eggless salad that was remade to be stretched and lower in fiber because I'm building my microbiome, or I'm feeding my entire family. I'm wrapping up lunches for everyone like this. So I also want to show you this loaf of bread. Just came out of my bread maker, organic, fresh milled, of course, and I didn't use the onion variation on this one, and I forgot how good the plain whole wheat bread is. Oh my gosh, Jerry and I devoured a whole entire loaf last night. It was our starch along with hummus we put on there with the ruby raw kraut and sprouts. And what else did we have? Our baby broth hot pot.
Mm-hmm.
And a salad. But I want to show you this bread slices so beautifully when it cools. Get it out of that bread maker when it's still hot. And you can get these nice beautiful slices. It's cooked to perfection. It has the texture of white bread because my recipe, I added some secret ingredients in there. You know, the psyllium husk to really absorb the excess moisture that's in that recipe to keep it soft and fluffy and moist, like white bread texture, with the benefit of the germ, the whole grain. So I want to show you Jerry. He will, well, first we got to decorate this bread with a little hot sauce, or a lot of hot sauce, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Jerry likes to put mustard down, but I didn't get that out, so I'm just going to show you.
That's okay.
And this is called carb loading, and that's what we do because we're on a starch-based diet.
How often do we carb load?
Every night.
Only every day.
Get down, please. Every night. So we've got starch on starch here, and now we're going to veg it up. We're going to veg it up with our Ruby Rock Kraut. Loaded.
I love all the colors.
Oh, so gorgeous. That's one of the things when you're eating a protective diet. Everything is so colorful. I had to give my sticky fingers a rinse. And then on top of here, we're going to put alfalfa sprouts. Because Jerry always says extra sprouts. He used to go to the sandwich shop that charged $1 for a little thing of sprouts on his sandwich, and he always talks about it. I'm like, now we have endless sprouts because they're so easy to make and so inexpensive. And I get my sprout seeds through Azure too. Okay, so on top of that, guess what? We're putting lettuce, of course. And I might even keep this open-faced. Nah. Little opportunity for more hot sauce on this side of things. So, how outstanding is this sandwich? Yes, I'm putting another piece of lettuce because I can.
Wow.
Oh my, wow, yum. Oh. So this is how we're doing it on a protective diet, but I'm gonna make up the rest of these on a platter after we part, but I want to show you what else I have here tonight. I have a lot of blue stuff. And I was brewing up, here is what's in here. I also wanted to talk about repurposing and secondhand shops and estate sales. You know I love a treasure hunt. And so does Jerry. And we found this awesome canister. I forgot to put the top on it. It's got a beautiful top. It's over there, Jerry. So in this canister I put, this is called blue chai. It's the Protective Diet blue chai recipe for butterfly pea flower brewed with Japanese green tea and mint leaves from my garden. And it is loaded with protective anthocyanin.
Lower the glass. There you go.
All right, it's a beautiful blue color, as you can see. And it's irresistible. And it's virtually almost tasteless. Okay, and it's got those same protective phytochemicals that we find in purple cabbage, the purples, reds, and blues. So I wanted to just show that to you and remind you of that recipe, that we are always sipping on polyphenols on a protective diet. And they're very low in flavor, high in prebiotics. They help our gut microbiome. They help our gut microbes have a little something. Whether we're day fasters, a lot of us delay our eating time until very late in the day, and this gives our microbes a little something, a little boost of prebiotics. Most of you think of prebiotics as something that comes in a capsule, not on a protective diet. We have them flowing through us through our protective herbal beverages. So I just wanted to show you how I like to store them to give. I feel in my refrigerator. I repurpose all kinds of bottles. I found this one at an estate sale with Janice, and this one is a organic rice vinegar, not the seasoned rice vinegar. Skip that one. That one's got sugar in it. And so I just saved these bottles. This one's from my organic tamari, It's our soy sauce replacement, and I always use these for many different things in the kitchen. This one was a kombucha bottle from Chicago from years ago when we lived there. I've moved this around with me. We no longer drink kombucha due to the sugar, and so we don't use that anymore. But this was what this was from. And then this was a bottle I bought off of Amazon when we did a protective beverage class, because I know not all of you have collected all of these bottles yet. This is a growler that our friend Joe gave us. He had them in his garage just sitting there, and he wasn't using them. And he gave them to us because he knows we're always fermenting something or doing something. These are just gorgeous and beautiful, but you can buy growlers online or use pitchers or stuff to keep these beverages handy with eye appeal. You can do this repurposing thing, or your friend might have some goodies in their garage with dust on them. So, or you can order a growler or a dispenser like this for when you have a party. I like to do this. I got this dispenser for $10 at a secondhand store, and I was like, this is the best dispenser I've ever seen. It's all glass, and just line up the glasses and a description of what you're serving for your guests to be like, oh wow, this is going to be irresistible. I've taken it to so many parties. And then behind me, I want to quickly show you what I have fermenting up, so that you know what's coming up in Protective Diet Education. I have some apple cider vinegar that I saved the cores from apples that I used on a beautiful apple crumble. And here is more of that. I don't know if you can see past all these jars. Jerry, can you see past all these jars here?
Yes.
To see this? I have more apple cider vinegar going here. And this will be a recipe on protectivediet.com once it is perfected. I'm doing this sugar-free, of course, and I think it's almost ready. And our probiotic pepper sauce made with jalapenos and more ruby rock kraut going. And then this is something that's coming up in Protective Diet Education. Another reason to collect buckets, everybody. You're going to need 2 buckets for this one. Frosting buckets from your bakery. Ask them, make friends, because when Jerry comes walking up to the bakery at Costco, the ladies, they go like this, and then they take off and they run to the back to get his buckets because they recognize him. They're friends now. They know what we're doing with them. I need to give them an update, and I can't wait to share this video with them so they can see what's happening with their frosting buckets. We'll probably never see another bucket again because all of our friends will be going and getting buckets. But this one, I wrote on it with my dry erase marker because I can, and keeps a reminder for me to rinse me. This is my mung bean sprouts. Look at the roots coming out the bottom. I bought this very kind of pricey sprouter for mung beans, and I wanted to come up with a DIY repurposing method for all of you sprouters to grow straight, beautiful white bean sprouts at home instead of having to buy that sprouter. So that's why I haven't had a sprouting lesson on bean sprouts, because they are very specific. We have the sprouting lesson on all of our other sprouts, but these bean sprouts, they need to go in. These are almost ready. I would say another 2 days, 2 rinses, morning and night, because you can see they're not plump and full yet, but they grow straight this way. I had Jerry drill the holes in the bottom of the bucket for all the roots, and it worked. So as soon as I have these, an example and photographs and exact dates and how long it takes so that you can plan, I will put this on Protective Diet Education. It's coming up. So that's everything I have for you tonight, and I've got to finish making these beautiful lettuce wraps for Jerry and I, because guess what? It's time
to eat.
Take care, everyone. Do your best, eat well, and be well. And keep in mind, we have all of the nutrition information we need here in Protective Diet Education.
All we have to do is follow through and apply it every single day. And you will experience exactly what I did, exactly what Jerry did, exactly like the many people in our community that have been following us for almost a decade. And doing all of our suggestions and following through without a doubt and putting those goals in their calendar of achievements and taking notes and before and after pictures and celebrating right along with us. Take care, everyone.
And best of health. We'll see you in the Protected Diet Education classroom.